Okay, so welcome back. Let's go ahead and begin with this method here. Let's see what it does, how it does it, and what's going on here in general. Before I do, you can tie these uh, this variable up on these three lines. So you have it here, you have it here, and then you have it here as well. So three times it is referred to here. So first of all, the next ID represents the ID of the next account that is created. Now we would like to begin from 3. That's why it's not 0, it's not 1, it's 3. Why would we want to begin from 3? Well, because we have initialized one account and we have initialized another one. Therefore, we would like our IDs to begin with number 3 because the first two are already taken and we would like these IDs to be absolutely unique. Anyway, that's why it's 3. Anyway, the method here, create account or create ACC, short, it accepts 3 HTML elements. So it's title L, description L, and balance L. Now you can name them any way you want, but the convention for naming HTML elements, well, sort of convention, is to put EL here at the end. I like to put it anyway. Well, maybe not so much, but it doesn't really matter. Just put something that you know that it's an element. And then we're specifying what type of an element we would like it to be. And we were basically way too lazy to type in the types of the elements, so we just said any, and any. It seemed simpler that way for everybody. Now, what we're doing here within the method, we're basically utilizing the push function in order to add another account to the array. So we're saying this dot underline accounts. So we're using the current instance of the accounts array, and then we're using the push function in order to add a new element to that array. So we're basically calling the constructor again, as before, nothing different. So we're just calling the constructor, and that constructor is then initializing, it says title L dot value. This is referring to the, this is pulling the value from the HTML field. So title L dot value is going to pull the value of whatever we typed into that field. Desk L dot value, again, it's going to pull the value that we've actually typed into that field, and the same goes for the last one. Now now here you have something different. It says this underline next ID. So we would like to get the current instance of the next ID property, and we would like to store it along with this account so that this account has a unique ID. Immediately, when this is done, we're gonna go ahead and iterate the current instance of the next ID property so that it increases by 1. Once we're done with creating the new account, we would like those fields, HTML fields, to become empty. So we are resetting their values to nothing. So empty, empty, 0. So we're completely emptying them out. And down below, we have a final method here. For this tutorial, it says remove account. Obviously, we're going to be using it in order to basically just remove an account. That's literally it. So it will receive an index, which will be a number, and that index will refer to that index will be the index of an account. So it's not the next ID, it's not at all. It's not even the ID, it's just the position of the account within the array. So is it in the first place? Is it in the second place? Is it in the third place? So if you found an account at the third place, delete it if you pass number 3 here. That's what this method is going to do. So it's this dot underline accounts dot splice. Splice is the actual function that performs the deletion. And the way it works, it receives the first parameter. The first parameter is the index from where it will begin the deletion process. And the second parameter basically states how many entries do you want me to delete from beginning with this one. So you pass a number here, you give a number here, I don't know, let's say 2, and then you can give another number here, let's say 5, it's going to delete everything between 2 and 5, starting with 2. Uh, it's only 1 here. Why is it 1? Because we would like to delete only one element. So delete the number that has been delete the position that has been given to you, and go no further. So only one place, only one position. You're going to delete only one position. Anyway, that would be it for app component.ts. We're gonna go ahead and move up ahead and head over to the HTML file in the follow-up tutorial and see what we actually are going to do there, and see how these changes are being reflected on the website itself. Keep in mind that we still didn't plug in Bootstrap. Well, we didn't utilize Bootstrap here at all, so the site will be pretty ugly, I can tell you that much. But don't worry about it. Surely, well, in a certain amount of tutorials in the far-fetched future, we're going to get to the Bootstrap and we're going to make the site look a lot better. So it will be a lot more pleasing for the eyes. But for the moment, you will just have fields until we master that, and then it's fairly easy to plug in Bootstrap. I mean, it's basically a couple of lines of code and that's it. So now we're going to go ahead and examine the app component.html file and see what we have done there. Now, to begin with, the very first thing that you're going to immediately encounter is aside from your accounts, you will see this part here, this div, where it says you don't have any accounts yet, please add it, or please add them. Now, why do we have this line? This is basically this will be written out onto the screen if there are no accounts in existence. How do we check whether we have accounts in existence or not? Well, if the size of the array, if the length of the array, if the number of elements in the array is equal to 0, then the accounts array has no elements of whatsoever, and therefore we're using this if. So if the length of the array is equal to 0, meaning if it has no elements, well, then there are no accounts. So then it stands to reason that we should write, you do not have any accounts, please add them. Or add it, I don't really care. This particular variable here is a private one from private account. Yep, there we go. So private underline accounts. It's an array, and its elements are of type account from the model that we have created previously. So you have the first account, and then you have the second account. The two of these are created in two different ways. This has been explained in previous tutorials. Now, one more thing to note. You can immediately see by this underline, by the naming convention, which I have mentioned before, that the private variables shall be named with an underline in front of the name of the variable or the name of the property. I can immediately look at the HTML template and immediately know that accounts is actually private by just looking at the naming convention of the underscore. Now, you might wonder yourselves, well, Ermin, this is never going to happen. You have initialized two accounts straight away, as you have explained before. Well, yes, but it's always a good practice to ensure yourselves. I mean, think of all the cases that can happen and create some sort of logic for each one of those cases so that you would have a failsafe. Yes, we have initialized two accounts, but you forget the fact that we can delete all the accounts. So if we delete all the accounts, and if there are no accounts in existence, this will be printed out onto the screen. Now, we would like these accounts to be printed, the contents of these accounts to be printed out onto the screen, to be displayed on the screen, should I say. So we're going to use the ng for loop from the previous tutorials, which we have seen. So we will have, I don't know, some arbitrary name for this. So it will be ACC as in accounts. And then every value of underscore accounts private property will be placed into the ACC, and through ACC we will access the individual properties. So that will be very easy to do like this. So acc.title will grab the title from this element. So title shall be grabbed, and therefore it will have the value of bank XY set. I'm gonna go ahead and bid you farewell here and see you in the follow-up.